Noah, you down to do a little discoursing here? We got a couple of
Love to.
topics in chat.
Love to.
Let's start with Papa Squat. He asked,
Sorry, I have a shitty mic right now too.
no, you sound all right. Papa Squat says, is it still possible we bring in a new striker this season? I have a hard time accepting that Jordan will come back and solve our lack of finishing. I mean, they are still, as far as I know, like looking at U22s for.
Can I soapbox on that when you're done?
Well, so yeah, I was going to use it as a segue into the discourse that I'm pretty sure you're talking about, which is unfortunately, well, okay, first to answer your question, yes, it is possible that they use the U22 spot that they're scouting for on a striker. I will say that, like, I know it's not an exciting answer or proposition, but I mean, I do think that if Jordan Morris does get healthy and he can get back fit on the field and playing like he usually does, that's going to help this team score goals. Like, I think the reality is, like, him being injured for this tournament is just, it sucks. Like, it's never a good time, but this is like an especially unfortunate time because, you want for him to have the opportunity to play in this, but also it's like the issues in front of goal that we saw against Botafogo, I think he would have helped with that. And I don't know if they would have taken a result if he played in that game, but I do know that their odds would have gotten a lot better if he had been able to play in that game. But unfortunately, I do have to report that we are apparently still doing the discourse over Seattle not using the special Club World Cup transfer window and how it constitutes a lack of ambition or resting on their laurels or whatever it is. That's so basically the new talking point, Noah, is like I think people really, really wanted to be able to be like, they wanted the Sounders to crash out against Botafogo and put on a horrible performance so that they could clown on them for that. But that didn't happen. Seattle actually played decently well, competitive.
It still played to their talking point though, because they were like, "Oh, if we had a number." Well, 9.
So that's that. So the talking point off of that is like, if Seattle had like a better number 9 or a true number 9 in the game, they could have won the game. They could have taken the draw. So like it's. They should have brought in a forward during that special transfer window, and then they could have beat Botafogo. I think that's the talking point. I don't know.
I think so too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's sort of what we're getting at here. So I guess I'll just give my take on this again, and then I'll let you soapbox, Noah. But just on the topic of this special Club World Cup window and why they didn't use it, whether they should have used it or not. I think the first thing that you have to acknowledge in this situation is Ryan Kent. Okay. When Paul Arriola got hurt towards ACL, Seattle actually got roster flexibility to make a move that they would not otherwise have had. And if they had not used that new flexibility to add to the roster, not just for Club World Cup reasons, but just to like make the team better for this season, if they had not made a move, I promise you, I would be crashing out over it. I would be joining the criticism of them not making a move to address that.
Would you be calling them a poverty club and sell?
Paul Arriola got hurt.
Dolo out as well. You know,
Paul Arriola got hurt very early in the season, and you're allowed to do the season-ending injury like thing.
Wait, so Ari, wait. Before you say anything. Are you telling me that LA Galaxy could have done this with Ricky Puig?
Yeah, okay. That's a whole different can of worms.
Just saying, could be worse. Could be worse.
They got this flexibility because of the season-ending injury thing to Paul Arriola. And if they had not used that, I would be annoyed about that. I really would. And for me, it's not even about the Club World Cup in particular. It's just that, like, you have a key player who has a season-ending injury, and in that situation, you have agency to strengthen your roster and try and mitigate that. And but they did use it. They used it. They went out and they got Ryan Kent. To me, it doesn't make a difference, like the technicality of the timing of when they did it. I don't care like if it's in the special window or the transfer window that was open right before it. As long as they did it, that's what I care about. And not to mention, I think doing it earlier was actually better. Like the funny thing is that if they had like done the Ryan Kent move, the exact same move, but in the special window, it would be getting praised. But because it was technically timed earlier, which is actually better for him getting to play more with the team and integrate with the team, it's like that the fact that they signed Ryan Kent is not factoring into the evaluation here. Second of all, you got people saying like, well, LAFC did it. LAFC did it, so why couldn't Seattle do it? That's not a good talking point. You are, if you're throwing that out there, you are absolutely not cooking with that at all. I can't have you thinking that this is like a dunk, like a slam dunk talking point. Can't have anyone under that impression. LAFC, the reason they were able to do that, unless I'm like high out of my mind, Noah, correct me if I'm wrong, they moved off Under, who was on one of their DP spots, to free that spot to be able to go get this Club America guy. So it's not like they kept the exact it's not like they kept the exact same roster and just used this window to like make an addition that bolsters them on top of what they already had. They got rid of a player to open that spot. So like, to me, if you're saying that Seattle like really should have used this window in the same way that LAFC did, you're saying that they should have moved off one of their DPs to be able to free the spot to like do what LAFC did. And I think any notion that Seattle is going to make an addition to their team that meaningfully strengthens it before the Club World Cup, it would have to be a DP spot, wouldn't it? Like, otherwise you're not getting a profile of player that would move the needle, would it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, you could say
like in order for this hypothetical that people are talking about to actually happen, you would have to move off of one of Pedro de la Vega, Albert Rusnak, or Jordan Morris. I really don't think, whatever you think of those three players, I know Rusnak is the one that's most debatable. Like, there's none of them are in a situation where it's like, you got to pull the plug right now. I know people are going to say that they should have just done that with Rusnak. That's just not, that's not a real thing, man. They're not going to, it's not even worth talking about because they're just not going to do it. But also,
you're a shill.
The question of
shill.
whether,
how could you think so lowly of this club? Like, you should have some more ambition to think that we could be better.
Like, we should just be clear about what's being argued. I'm pretty sure everyone's saying like, all right, well then like move off Rusnak and go like replace him in the special window. That's not as like good or practical an idea as it's being characterized. I don't think. Like, that's just, it wouldn't happen, and I don't think it should.
What I want to say about the general, why wouldn't you sign anyone? The worst take that I got called out by our favorite aggregator account on Twitter in a subtweet here because of my take that was, it doesn't make any sense to sign anyone right now. You signed Ryan Kent, and this wasn't even a take that I started. It was Jeff Reuter was the one who brought this up as well. He said, you guys did better business because you signed a player like Ryan Kent, someone who was available and marketable, and someone who would not have been there in this 10-day window, or would have probably had bigger clubs clamoring over him. You got him early, you were able to integrate him, and now he's playing meaningful minutes and starting in this Club World Cup game. When you look at a player like the Club America player that LAFC signed, who wasn't even rostered. He wasn't even rostered for the LAFC versus Chelsea game. So what are we even talking about?
Well, and their plan was clearly to move off Under and go get that guy anyway. So they did it a little earlier, but that's like they're in a completely different situation with their roster. You have to acknowledge that. You can't just equate them when it's not the same situation.
And I can acknowledge too that there are open spots. You can sign a U22, but if you go and you actually pay attention to what Craig and others are saying at these press conferences, I watched them all. I'm in the rooms. I talked to Nico. I talked to Jeremiah. I talked to you. I know what's happening. It was very clear that there was an attempt made to sign a U22 in this window, and they were getting price gouged. He said, listen, we're in negotiations, but with young players, the biggest hangup on all of these deals is sell-on percentages. Major League Soccer is a developmental league. Whether they take someone from any league in the world and they want to move off of them, they want to be able to recoup that investment. You know what? You can say Seattle Sounders are poor all day, but every club in the world wants to maintain a good chunk of a sell-on percentage. That's just the reality, especially when you're taking a gamble on young players. That's the truth. That's the truth of it. I don't know what to tell you. Like that's just the truth. And so if they're getting gouged because they know teams essentially they know how much money we're getting, they know how much money we're getting for a win, they know how much money is available. Yeah, they're going to nickel and dime you and they know you have 10 days, so they're going to squeeze it and squeeze it and squeeze it. A deal is hard to get done. I don't know. I know that these people, these aggregator accounts, I don't know what they do for a job. I don't know, but clearly, no hate to anyone, but it's like I don't know if you've ever had to do a business deal before, because the reality is when the window is closing, when the time is short to get something done, that's when people do outlandish shit. They're like, we have you by the balls, so we might as well squeeze,
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, well, what do you have to lose? You have a lot to lose. You have
This is
a,
not
you have a potential like drastic misallocation of resources and using a spot on something that you should not be using it on because you're like rushing
because you have a
into it.
higher 1%
Yeah, like,
chance of getting out of
dude,
this
like
group.
it's one of those things where it's like, God, I'm so glad fans don't run this team.
Well, and
Like,
it's calling my take the dumbest possible take on it, and it's like, it's not stupid. If you literally look at LAFC, if you were like, yes, you have to sign someone in this window, it is the definition of incompetence from the management that you didn't sign anyone, that you didn't make a move in this window. All right, fine, you can have that take. But when that take comes to reality, which is you use a DP spot on a loanee, and then your biggest Club World Cup match of the entire group stage, he can't fucking play. He's not on the roster. He didn't even play a minute. What's the point? What's the point of signing someone for the Club World Cup if they're not going to play in your biggest match? And that's the reality of it. You sign a U22, you sign a player, who knows if their visa is going to be ready in that 10-day window right before you lead up to Club World Cup? Who knows what's going to happen, what shape they're going to come in to the club in? They've got to learn the team. They've got to know the players. I know that these people sit on their couches all day long stealing Sound the Red Heart articles and not doing anything for themselves. They've never touched a soccer ball in their life other than to sky it in a penalty shootout against some Sounders players that they didn't ask PR to be on a video with, so they're not allowed to do anything with Sounders anymore. That's fine. You can say that all day long, but the reality is the world is more complicated than your little brain makes it seem. And I can't stand it anymore, Ari. I can't. You can be frustrated with the lack of spending for the Sounders. I evangelize that. I agree with that. It is criminal. They have not spent enough money over the past few years. Jeremiah will say that. You will say that. I will say that. Everyone will say that. But to say that the world is ending because you didn't sign someone in this random 10-day window that didn't exist until 2 months ago, it's a what have you done for me lately, or a goldfish brain take. Like, we just signed Ryan Kent. We just signed Ryan Kent to bolster the Club World Cup, to bolster the MLS campaign, to do all of this stuff, and we did it for free, and we didn't get gouged, and we still have the open spot. Okay? Like, you can't acknowledge that that is good business on one hand, and then go and say everyone should be fired because they didn't sign someone in this 10-day window. I'm done with it. I'm done with these takes. Like, it's so stupid.
It's been unfortunate to see the discourse. It's really bad, but you just
raise the price of microphones. That's all I got to say.
You got to live in reality on this stuff, man. Like the idea, like it's so easy to sit there and say, oh well, then move off Rusnak, then move off De La Vega. Like, you're taking a like nuclear bomb to like your roster in the locker room, like on a whim, to like try. It's just such a bad idea, man. It's so bad. It's like shockingly.
And even if, like I said, even if, and the argument that I've seen is that they should sign a U22 player. A U22 player. We've talked about the hit rate of U22 players. You can go back and watch the video where you analyzed all of it. All right. It's not super hard, but it is not easy. It is not easy.
Definitely not guaranteed. Yeah.
You look at a player like Pedro de la Vega. That is an average U22 signing. And we have both said that he is not DP quality in this moment right here. Okay. He played and was injured a ton in his first season. We didn't know that was going to happen. We thought he was going to come in and be the shit, right? You're taking a gamble on a young player. You're taking a big gamble on a young player. And so it makes no sense to overpay for a young player with no guarantees. It's just the reality, okay? Like, it's Major League Soccer, whether you like it or not, is a hamstrung league. You are only able to make a certain number of signings. You're only able to spend a certain number of dollars. And even if you do go above and beyond that, go look at Atlanta United. Go see how they're doing. If you want, I say this all the time, if you want to still watch Major League Soccer and all you care about is signing new players, go be an Atlanta United fan. Go be an Atlanta United fan and see how you like it, because you'll fucking hate it. They suck. They're terrible. All right? Like, that's the reality. If you don't like the fact that it's a closed league, that's cool too. I appreciate that. You can have that as an opinion, but you've got to operate in the reality of where we are. Go watch the Prem. Like, go watch Botafogo. They can sign 5 players. They're allowed to.
John Tex is splashing cash, dude.
Exactly. They can go do that. I'm done with it. I'm done with the constant complaining. All right. And people will say, Noah, you're meat riding ownership and you're doing all of this. Maybe I am. Maybe they're paying me, Ari. Maybe all of these tattoos, they were paid for by the Sounders front office.
I think that whole accusation, I mean, I saw you going back and forth with that bot. I think that whole accusation is not giving us credit for the depth of coverage that we do. Like,
I wish I was getting paid by the fucking Ari. I wish.
We covered the whole protest, and I was pretty clear the whole time that I was.
I crashed out on Adrian a week ago.
Yeah, like I was clear the whole time that I was on the player side. You know. Give me some goddamn credit.
I don't understand it. The absolute like rage farming and the just unhappy, I'm cool with it. I've said this before. Be angry at the ownership for being cheap. I don't care. But operate in reality. Operate in reality when when there are adults in the room, when there's 2 adults in the room analyzing the game in the way that this roster is constructed. Act like one or go sit at the kids' table. Go do your fucking Instagram coloring book ass posts. Go do that then. I don't care. But when 2 adults are talking, have some respect. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Like, that's all I'm going to say.